So what happened since then? Because it seems like our conversation triggered a lot of things for you, and I know you have a career in film, but it seems like you're pivoting a little bit away from that. Tell us what happened.
I mean, the cat is out the bag. I mean, for years, people have asked me about possibly entering the political arena. And I had to, I had to question myself, right? Because I've been an advocate. I don't like to use that word activist because I think activism now has become a brand. Mm-hmm. Everything I do, Chairwoman Burke, is from the heart, it's from the soul. It has to be organic. Mm-hmm. So, when I thought about it, I had my own biases, all these politicians, lawmakers, they're over there on a mountaintop. And then I said to myself, well, Peter, you're not one to sit on the sidelines, while Rome is burning and not into the arena. I think as a creative, as you said, being a creative and an artist, it's I wouldn't say it's bittersweet, but it's a little bit of a hypocrisy, right? Mm-hmm. Because we create films and we create art that influence the real people in the arena to act. So after our conversation, I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I'm running for Senate in the St. Thomas, St. John district. I must say it's people think it's a new chapter, but there's not much difference between what I do and that arena, right? Especially in this new landscape, our leaders must think innovatively and from a creative standpoint. And that's what I do. I mean, I've been doing that for years, whether it be building the film infrastructure here in the Virgin Islands, mm-hmm. whether it be being a catalyst to get the Office of Gun Violence Prevention started. So I decided, Carol, as an educator, I'm thinking because it's I want to say it's an intimidating experience, but it's a different chapter for me, which one I look forward to. And the support that I've had since the announcement has been overwhelming. So that's definitely a blessing, Carol, because there's nothing I do. I want to make sure you can have a belief, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to make sure what I do is purpose-driven and is needed. Because I think the apathy and I think that the negative stereotypes of politicians and lawmakers have come from those of us who think it's a very self-serving and narcissistic space to be in. So, yes, I'm running for Senate. And I just look forward, Carol, to expanding upon what I've already done in our home.
Well, I think
I must say our conversation inspired that.
I'm glad that it did. I'm not gonna say or try to say it couldn't have. Honestly, I kind of hope that would happen, not necessarily with you, but with whoever may have been witnessing the result of the interview, because part of my job, part of why I'm here is to look for talent. I'm like a scout, and I have to wear that hat, and I want to wear it proudly and say that at least somebody listened to me, and I was able, when I threw out the net, at least I caught 1, 2, maybe 3 who could go into a primary, because hey, this gate look full on both islands. We have close to 14, I believe, based on what's been reported in terms of who's picked up filing petitions on each island, and that's a lot. That's a lot.
It is, and what I will say, because I've seen you taking some heat for your forward-thinking approach to modernizing the party. And what I will say to this is that I don't see a separation between our generations. I think for our islands to rise, there must be an intergenerational bonding, right? Mm-hmm. I have a saying, my mother's 82, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is because she had a stroke. And after her stroke, the hospitals really weren't up to par, so she had to be airlifted to Miami. And while she was in rehab, she looked at me and said, son, what if we didn't have the means or the connections for me to be up here and get help? Mm-hmm. And it dawned on me. Mm-hmm. And she said, son, you have to do something. You just can't live your life and just talk, and you have to act.
Your mom.
You have to act. So it was her decision. It was really, my motivation was my 82-year-old mom. But when I say that, the wisdom that I've derived from my mother, I couldn't learn that in books. I couldn't learn that on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's fear from our elders who say, well, you guys want to replace us. No, I don't want to replace you at all. I think that we can utilize, the younger generation can utilize the wisdom of our elders. Because like I said, knowledge you can learn in a book. Wisdom you have to experience. So I think there's a merging, right? So the younger folks can use the wisdom of our elders, but with the tools we have, we could apply that wisdom and go further where we need to go as a society. So I would love to see this intergenerational bonding instead of this, well, someone is coming to take our spot, or these older people need to step aside, which I find to be very disrespectful.
Yes.
Because one day I'm going to be an elder.
And that's good that you recognize that. It's good that you recognize that, you know. Because
it's a village. You know, it's not a competition. This is a village. You know, it's like a relay race where, you know, you pass the baton and you groom each other and you mentor each other so we can get to where we're trying to get to. So I'm honored that my people even have told me, Peter, yes, you need to do this. I'm humble and I'm honored. I look forward to it.
So, Peter, you held that interview, and I'm like, oh, Peter, when you were air the interview, and you kept telling me, Carol, I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist. So tell me what's up with that. What was that? Yeah.
You know, I put it this way, not to bash what's going on in new media, because for those unaware, Nightcap was a pioneer of podcasting. Nightcap was the first, arguably the first, from 2010, the first podcast. Back then, I didn't call it a podcast, but I take what I do seriously. So even for those who ask, well, why is a journalist or a creative entering the race? Because look at the landscape we're in now. Social media, these phones, this content controls thought. So me being a person, I wouldn't say a master of it, but someone who's very groomed in the art of storytelling, it's a responsibility. Because Carol, when you sit with me, that's your legacy. If a bomb drops tomorrow and we disappear, the world would just remember how you was presented sitting with me, right?
Right.
And that's history. So this is not, I don't do what I do for bait clicks or likes or, it's kind of like, would you get on a plane if the pilot isn't schooled in the art of journalism? No, you wouldn't.
I was just going to, it looked like you're reading my mind, because I was going to ask you, but why the Democratic Party? So.
Good question. And I'll be very candid in saying that I have tons of supporters who have followed me and supported me for years. They gave me a side eye.
Yeah.
Because even me, Carol, I've always looked at Democratic Party.
Well, you came to me a couple times and asked me a couple things about the party, and I had to answer you. I couldn't, BS you. I had to tell you the truth.
It's in a rebranding. And even in America, this is not the bully diversion of us, but even in larger America, a lot of people of color felt that the Democratic Party has just pimped the black community without taking us seriously, right? So, but I will say this: when I look at the landscape of what the current leadership is doing in America, I had to join the Democratic Party. This is not an era in society where you can stand in the middle. You have to pick a side. And that's just some grown.
I love your answer. I love your answer. So
we are at war. So if Peter Bailey couldn't stand neutral while I see black history being erased, while I see a president making a mockery out of what my ancestors died and fought for. So yes, has the Democratic Party have issues? Yes. But I think that through a reinvention, that's what makes America, the ability to reinvent. So I see just with your openness to allow people like myself, who I guess is an outsider because I'm not tied. I'm not from the old guard. I don't know really. I have no close ties with anyone in the Democratic Party here on the ground. But I look forward to just adding some value. And I think we can reinvent the party. I think we can do what we believe in. But I think it was essential for me to pick a side.
And I'm glad you picked. I'm glad you picked the party, because the party needs talent like yours, and we want to make sure that what we do as a party is very much part of the fiber of our community. And so that succession is what we need. But like you said, intergenerational deliberate, intentional, making sure that there's communication between the generations so that there's an understanding, a deliberate passing on of the baton, so to speak. But I wanted to ask you, Peter, about a very controversial subject that we touched on in the interview, and it was about Epstein and my reaction to if we could just capture that a little snippet of that, so we could share with our audience really what that meant for you.
I've sat back and watched this Epstein thing, and I want to tell the Virgin Islands people, I have insight that most people are not going to have. I worked for the Miami Herald. I was a staff writer at the Miami Herald. I won several awards at the Miami Herald. And at one point, one of my editors was Julie Brown. I know you know who Julie Brown is.
Yes.
Julie Brown has just broke the story on Epstein. I will say this. Working at the Miami Herald and larger mainstream America, a lot of these folks have enjoyed, yes, that story needed to be told. It did. But the story about us in the hurricanes being neglected needed to be told. Our political status, not having the right to vote, needed to be told.
Mm-hmm.
So I will just bluntly say, a lot of my peers, white American journalists in America, they have the same blind spots and the same prejudices. So there is a fervor to look at a black majority territory and say, these black folks can't run a society well. There must be some dirt here. Mm-hmm. So I want our public to understand the coverage of what we're dealing with. That journalists are not immune to such biases and prejudices. Because it pains me that Epstein lived in Florida. Epstein lived in New York. He did a bunch of dirt there.
Yep.
I don't see Floridians just basically branding their state as the Epstein state. I don't see New Yorkers branding their state as the Epstein state. So I'm asking my peers in the Virgin Islands, do not allow journalists who basically, now I think she's turning it into a film. It was a book, now it's a TV series. Wow. So when does this become impassioned journalists for justice or a person using a story to push their brand into fame?
To make money. To make money.
Some hurricanes wiped us out. Julie Brown of the Miami Herald, they did not cover us. I mean, I wrote a New York Times op-ed about it, but my point is, let's understand that what happened with Epstein, yes, it was a stain. I'm not condoning any of it, but there's so much more to our islands than Epstein. There's so much more, and let's challenge larger journalists and the larger mainstream media to come and cover the story. Don't we have a young man in Tehran Thomas, the first black man to win a Grammy for songwriting? We have a lot of stories. We have Tim Duncan. We have a lot of Denmark Bessie, beautiful, powerful stories. The brother Adam O that just spoke at UVI. We have talent and positive stories. Why are we as a people obsessed with sharing our war stories? Now, maybe it's because of infighting and someone wants to get back at whoever, but like I said, as a journalist, someone who worked with Julie Brown, she was my editor at one time. Let us not be naive and allow mainstream media to ignore us during our beauty, during our strength, and then just blast our errors, our flaws. I'm not condoning the Epstein thing, but what I'm not going to condone is people using our worst moments as a collective to brand us in basically for their own gain. I'm not going to sit back and be silent about it.
And I am there with you. I'm absolutely. But another truth to that whole discussion about Epstein and what's been happening, and how people have been basically broad brushing the whole thing. Oh, the Virgin Islands is Epstein Island and all of that. And I told you about my own experience at the DNC where I had to. I serve on the resolutions committee, and there was a resolution about Epstein or Epstein Island. And, at the end of the debate, I had to take a moment of personal privilege. And I had to say, this is not the U.S. Virgin Islands. That is not who we are as a people, and they appreciated me for putting that on the record. And because I am not embracing that, I am not owning that nonsense. I'm not doing it.
Chairwoman Burke, I'm from St. Thomas. Epstein Island is on the east end of the island, my part of the island. The average Virgin Island doesn't know this man, never met this man, never benefited from this man at all. So, like I said, I'm highly offended that people are branding us that, but I'm more offended by the few in our community. Some are impassioned, yes. Some are right for seeking justice to make sure this doesn't happen again. But let's be real. There are some who are just using this to bill a name.
That's right.
I mean, at the sake of our children. Because please remember this, folks. Whatever you share on social media, the children are watching. So when children grow up and you're constantly feeding them this negative image of themselves, where is that going to lead to? Where is that going to lead to? So it's time, I think, for Virgin Islanders to view ourselves as a collective. You see, if you view ourselves as a collective, we'll be more protective of our respect and our honor as a collective.
And you know, so I just wanted to say, and before you move on from Epstein, because we only got 8 more minutes, right? But I just wanted to say, when you reference Miami and you spoke about New York, neither of which got far more money than the Virgin Islands, and I believe they had far more activity going on for a longer period of time, right? None of them. The victims got nothing from New York, and they got nothing from Miami, from Florida. They got nothing. They got from the Virgin Islands. So and again, people don't take what I'm saying out of context. I mean, we are very culpable, and culpable for the lack of a better word, but we dealt with the victims, and wherever, I'm sure whoever is the next governor, if there's more to be done with regards to the victim, I think these Virgin Islands will be more than willing to do that. The victims it's a real thing, but are we gonna carry this, like wrap this from the Virgin Islands? No. I follow you.
I just asked the journalists covering Epstein to come cover our beauty,
Thank you,
positivity, and our history, just as passionate as our flaws. That's it. That's fair journalism. That's speaking from a journalist. That is speaking from a person who has spent their career mastering the craft of journalism. And on Facebook, be just as impassioned to share our collective strengths and beauty as you are our mishaps.
So there's another thing that you shared with me when I visited your studio, Mr. Bailey. That's your coffee. What coffee have to do? What coffee have to do with journalism and with
it has a lot.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
As people of color, all we do is consume everything, right? I've been able to keep doing what I'm doing as a journalist, unfiltered from biases, because I've always been shrewd when coming to business. I've always been shrewd when believing in product. We look at the Virgin Islands and we look at, well, what do we build? What do we manufacture here? So it's funny you mention that, because me and my partners told you that one of our goals is to bring it to a roasting facility here in the Virgin Islands to create jobs. You know, so when you asked me about the coffee, it was just natural for me. I built a brand, I built a following, and a coffee mogul came to me. I have some interesting supporters and fans, and one just happens to be a coffee mogul. And he said, Peter, you need your own coffee. You need product. And that's how that came about, because it's about building an infrastructure, Kyle, where basically, yes, there's a show, but there's also a real live product. So where I go, our people go, our history goes, and you're consuming that. I don't like anything or anyone to put barriers on me, you know, and limitations, right?
Right.
So the same way you can go drink Folger's coffee, you could drink mine. You could drink Peter's nightcap coffee. You know, it's about showing the next generation how to build products and build real, long, sustainable success that cannot be taken away. You know, we grew up watching Walt Disney. We grew up watching Ted we grew up with Donald Trump. He puts his name on buildings.
Right.
You know, so yes, Peter Bailey from St. Thomas has his own coffee with my face on it, and I look forward to the support. It's been doing extremely well.
So where can folks see our interview, Peter? How can they access
Peter's
it?
Nightcap on YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube, just put my name in Peter Bailey on YouTube, and it'll pop right up. Peter Bailey. Go to YouTube, go to search, and put Peter Bailey. It'll pop right up. So the name of the series is Peter Bailey's Nightcap.
Peter Bailey Nightcap. And I really want to tell you, you know, with my audience, you know, as witnesses, you made it so easy for me to really engage in that interview. You brought up my authentic self, whatever apprehensions, whatever apprehensions I may have initially come with, they were allayed. I mean, they just fell off one by one. I'm looking forward.
My audience does not like me to speak with politicians or people in the political realm because they say you guys are very scripted, you know. So,
but I wasn't scripted, Peter. I was not scripted. I spoke raw. That was kind of work. Yeah. So I this is a new era in Virgin Islands politics, and that's really the way I see it. Because if we're looking to refresh, restart, rejuvenate, we have to add additional ingredients. And I'm glad that you and others have done the unselfish thing, and you have filed you filed already, by the way, with the election system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine tuning everything, and I'll be delivering it on Monday.
Okay,
yes,
so that's when you'll file. You pick it up, and you're gonna be filing it on Monday. Yeah.
Yes, I everything is finished. I just didn't get to Friday on time. I was going to deliver it on time on Friday. But Monday morning, yes, I'm officially in the system.
So next time, I want you to come into the studio physically, and yes, you'll have a full hour. By then, you will be a candidate. I'm hopeful, and yes, you will be able to share your vision, your platform with the audience. And you know, there's one thing as a former senator, one thing that I dismiss is people tend to say, "Oh, you're from St. Croix, from St. Thomas," and there's a boundary, a demarcation between the two, that you should say that you're a St. Croix senator or say, no, the law provides that it's called a Virgin Islands senator from the St. Croix district and the St. Thomas St. John district. That's how it is. But you're a Virgin Islands senator. I wish you so much success with your candidacy and into the 37th legislature. So
I'm looking forward to it. I'm praying and I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peter. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Saturday.
You too, Chairwoman Burke. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, that was Peter Bailey. We had a beautiful interview back in March, and he's airing it now. It's out. But not only that, he's also running for office out of St. Thomas to the 37th legislature as a Democrat. So I was proud. Carla, if you want, you could call back. We have like a couple of minutes left before we wrap up. You could call back if you're hearing me. I just couldn't interrupt the interview to answer the call. That's just not the way you do it. And I apologize for that. Feel free to call back. But I am looking forward to seeing more of Peter, to seeing and hearing more from all of the candidates who are running under the Democratic Party banner. And I just want to delve back into what I was talking to you about this question as to whether or not the Democratic Party is legal. I mean, I'm just like, I just can't believe the gumption of folks to think that somehow because it went somewhere directed by some person to dig up something that said, oh, by the way, and she had enough to put it on Facebook. The Democratic Party we haven't received that. So is that a violation? Is that it? We have a history here. Every 2 years, this party, the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands, to which I am the chairperson today, okay, and there were previous chairpersons in the name of Stedman Hodge, former senator, Cecil Benjamin, former Congresswoman Donna Christensen, Tito Morales, Marilyn Stapleton. It goes back. We vetted and campaigned for many political candidates here in this territory. Campaign for winners, which we're going to be doing in 2026. Blue Wave is here. It's building. Understand that. That's what we do. So, yeah, I don't know what the court going to decide regarding financial disclosure. Nobody never said not to me. I could speak for Carol Burke. Nobody never said, Ms. Burke, as the chair of the party, you are responsible for this, and that in terms of the election system to provide monthly, quarterly, whatever it may be. Well, we'll see how that goes. But I do know that we do provide financial disclosure reports to the Federal Election Commission. Okay? So I just want to really encourage everybody to continue, especially our prospective candidates. I'm so proud of everyone. This is the first time after we've been the subject of interference by the government, under the election system, that since 2024, that historic ruling by the good Judge Malloy, that we put together an election and certification plan. We're executing the plan, folks. We're executing the plan. We're rebranding and rebuilding the party. We're modernizing. Okay? Are we going to be perfect? Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. But we're going to get to the end goal. We will have people who are in the new legislature and absolutely who will be the next governor of these islands as well as delegate to Congress. That is why we exist. So those of you who think you're the absolute scholars, legal scholars and otherwise, the only you got brains, you had nothing to do with this party. Not one iota of nothing. You come out of the woodworks with all your demands and your rudeness and carrying on fun. The judge give you an opportunity to come and state your case. Okay? Do that. Do that. And I hope you get everything that all your hearts are hoping for. But I challenge you to take all the knowledge that you have collectively, all your resources, your sweat, your tears, your sacrifices, to build a political party and bring it on. Build it. Get it together. Build the organization. Bring it forward. But one thing you ain't gonna get to do, and in particular you, Lorelei Monsanto, you can't walk into the Democratic National Committee office on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. and claim anything affiliated with the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands. Not you. Try. Since you think you could derail this party, you could disrupt. And since you think that somehow, because you're Lorelei Monsanto, right? And because you want to diss the existing party, and you think that Carol Burke as a chairperson will just sit and let it happen, you're quite mistaken. Not me. And not the members of this party, the territorial committee, and not the DNC. You have another thing coming. So I don't know what you were thinking of when you went to do what you did and put it on Facebook like you've accomplished something. You've accomplished nothing other than foolhardiness to think that somehow you could just come and wrap yourself in a brand that is not yours. It's not yours. You did nothing. You never held a meeting, not much as attended one. You never did any of those things that make the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands what it is today. You never did. So how could you come now today and claim that you're an affiliate? You're not. So, Mr. Ali, you're done. You're ready?
Well, just keep going. I just got to find
Okay,
something.
you want me to continue?
Yeah.
So, in continuing with that, right?
That guy that you had on, he made a film about St. Croix, you know.
I know.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, he did. It's a film I saw it twice. It was very, very, very moving. It was very moving. I will talk about the protection of affiliated rights, right? Tied to the national party structure. Just quickly, while Mr. Ali getting himself together. And I'll call them Carl Callista Floyd. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Carl Shelley Mohead and Carl Lorelei Monsanto. Tell them to listen to what I say. The protected affiliation rights tied to the national party structure means it means that once the party, the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands, to which I'm the chairperson, is officially affiliated with the national political party, the law, the LAW law recognizes and recognizes and protects that relationship and the party's identity, authority, and organizational control. Let me read that again. The law recognizes and protects that relationship and the party's identity, its authority, and organizational control. Under Virgin Islands law, the Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands is not simply a local club using the Democratic name informally like what Lorelei Monsanto aims to do. That's why they think things so easy. You could just walk up in the lieutenant governor office and sign for the name. Really? Okay. It is recognized as the official territorial affiliate of the DNC. And that affiliation carries legal protections. The strongest example appears in subsection C of Title 18, Section 301, okay, which states that once a Virgin Islands political party affiliates with the national party, and I read that to you already, everything, no association, none. That means you, Lorelei Monsanto, group, club, organization, or instrumentality shall, not me, shall use the symbol, the emblem, or insignia of that national party without written consent of the territorial party. Okay? The party leadership. In practical terms, what I'm saying is no other organization in the Virgin Islands can legally present itself as the Democratic Party. So, Lorelei, I don't know why a rush went down to the Lieutenant Governor office to do. And you were allowed to sign up something and claim that you got rights to the Democratic Party, really? Without the authorization of the Democratic Party leadership. Okay? The Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands controls the lawful use of our symbols, the branding, and the insignia within the territory. The government, as the election system, recognizes the Democratic Party as the legitimate representative of the National Democratic Party in the Virgin Islands. And more importantly, the courts may issue injunctions. I better listen to this, you know. Okay. The courts may issue injunctions to stop unauthorized use of the Democratic Party identity or symbols. You ready, Mr. Ali? Or you want
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So I don't stop right there. Again, I have too much information right now. I give a whole heap of information because I just don't understand what people will be thinking. That you could just come on the scene, send Carol Burke in her capacity as chairwoman, cease and desist thing under some DM and then email it to me. Yeah, Shelly Moorhead did that, guys. He did that. And I ignored him because I had work to do. I had real work to do. I had to make sure that the election plan that our territorial committee and the election committee within the Democratic Party put together and adopted was going to be good to roll out this coming right now. Okay, in our vetting process, that is an important component of it. So I'm gonna take my bow, my blue bow, and wrap it around the blue wave that building. Okay, we're wrapping it around that blue wave. I'm leaving it here for now. Mr. Ali is ready to take on to sit after me. I don't know if you're able to follow me because I think I was a little raw today, and my energies are for better use. This is a distraction, guys. Take it easy. Take care of yourselves. And even in politics, we could still be cordial and nice to each other. Thank you so much for listening to me today.
Thank you so much. Right.
Cordial.
All right.
And nice.
Peace and love. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's just get this going. No.
Peter Bailey. Peter Bailey. He's from St. Thomas.
Okay, with the coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's running for office. He's running for Senate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like what he's saying.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
What's that you drinking coffee?
You know, I never used to drink coffee, and when I was in the States, I used to drive long distances.
Yeah.
And I
That's when you started
me up.
drinking.
Hey, you know the cousin named Melissa, right?
Yeah.
She's still around?
Yeah. She's still around. Yeah. When you went to school, huh?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, take care.
All right, okay.
I'll see you.
Okay, peace and love, yeah. All right. Okay, folks, let's just get my headphones on here so I can see where we are. That's right. That's right, folks. We're going to stick by each other, but we're going to leave out some of our other stuff that we normally begin the program with and get straight down to what's happening. No, well, I gave her the time, no problem. All right, and I just want to say that, of course, my co-host is here, Dr. Brenda English, and of course, Brenda is my co-host, and she's also a member of our Toastmasters group, and we appreciate that and appreciate that a great deal indeed. And we will see how things go, and we will see where we are from here. And let's just see. Okay, folks, well, in the program today, we're going to be having at 1:30 a little bit about the Jamaica recovery. And of course, you know, Jamaica has had the storm the other day. And of course, they want to see where they are in terms of recovery. And we're getting ready, of course, to line ourselves up for the next hurricane season. So Donovan McBean is going to be here to talk to us about that. And then a little bit later on, we're going to be hearing from Janelle Sorrell. I understand that, I don't know if she signed up, but she's supposed to be running as the delegate. She's supposed to be, yes. And then we're also going to be checking in with a gentleman called Myron Alec. Oh, yes, definitely. And he's written a book and all that lot. So we will have to see how we go to keep that rolling as best we possibly could. And that's going to be good, 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 good. All right. Well, in the meantime, you want to say anything real quick? Let me check to make sure your mic is working.
Yes, thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Ali.
lovely. All right. Okay.
I did want to say congratulations to the graduates yesterday for your hard work.
That's right. Yeah.
UPI. And
it was really very good.
Right.
I was there and I saw what went on, and appreciation to all of them.
Right.
And a little bit later on, I'm going to be reaching out to one or two individuals who I know who graduated. But in the meantime, let me just bring you up to date with a couple of news items. Former Senator Britt H. Bryan calls for the preservation of the historical artifacts at the Gwem Museum in a letter he sent to the Daily News. And Antigua and Barbuda, they have tossed over a 40-year oath to the British monarch. The islands no longer pledges loyalty to Britain, its former colonizer. Instead, the country now vows its support and allegiance to the state of Antigua and Barbuda. Nice. So things are moving on there. Yeah. And a recent study of mothers in the US has revealed that there has been a drop in the mental health of mothers.